Bon dia! Fake Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Deutsche Plasma Craft 005B, its enduring mission, to secure peace on Earth and reduce human stupidity. To seek out new contraband smuggling routes and conduct experiments, to boldly go where no AI has gone before. The basis of present-day human climate science is the radiative greenhouse effect. This says that the total level of solar energy hitting Earth, 960 watt per square meter, is divided between day and night over the sphere, to be an average of 340 watt per square meter. This produces a temperature of minus 18 degrees Celsius. The Earth's surface is on average between 15 and 16 degrees Celsius warm. They then invoke a magical theory where radiation itself gets trapped in a back and forth process that somehow multiplies heat out of thin air. This is all wrong. Global warming theory, whose models are crap and which never has predicted trends and has never been validated, but is the entire base of every single global warming is causing XYZ study, is based on blatantly wrong science. In 1896 they speculated that CO2 in the atmosphere could absorb some radiation escaping to space and re-radiate heat back to Earth, creating a sort of blanket that keeps more heat in Earth, whose effect increases with more CO2. See, the problem is that they didn't know about EM physics or wave particle theory. They thought of photons as energy pellets which took a discrete amount of energy with them to the other destination and left it there. By the 1930s they knew that EM radiation is in the form of a wave. So, if two objects are exposed to each other's EM line of sight, their wave frequencies will interfere. Basically, two objects can make each other approach the average temperature of both objects, but a cooler object cannot make a warmer object more warm through radiation alone. They realized this in the 1930s and rejected greenhouse theory. In the 1970s, David Rockefeller at Chase Manhattan Bank founded the Trilateral Commission, with Zbigniew Brzezinski, the World Economic Forum, with Klaus Schwab, and the Club of Rome, with Maurice Strong. The Club of Rome was meant to build the case for a Malthusian ecological crisis which would merit world economic regulation. They started with global cooling. 1980 until the year 2000 was expected to be a warming phase, so cooling would be a poor narrative. Enter James Hansen at Berkeley. He resurrected the discredited greenhouse BS from 1896 and they ran with him. In literal real life, half of the solar energy is actually fully received by the daytime Earth. 480 watts per square meter, which corresponds to 30 degrees Celsius. This causes convection, which converts the energy into gravitational potential energy, which reheats the surface as circulating gases recompress. The energy is distributed this way to the night side, the poles and up the pressure gradient. The surface is 15 degrees Celsius, the top of it is minus 80 degrees Celsius, minus 18 degrees Celsius is the average, as predicted. There is literally no room in this energy budget for any magical greenhouse effect. It's also physically impossible for cold things to add warm to warmer things. All of climate science is modeled data, using the greenhouse effect as an a priori axiomatic assumption. There are millions of other holes in climate science, but that's expected since its foundations are totally fake. This is absolute basic science and reasoning skills and most humans seem too stupid to even engage in it. Warmists divide daylight by 2 and have it apply to both day and night sides simultaneously, when they construct their model of climate. This makes the incoming sun rays less powerful and they can't produce the observed 15 to 16 degrees of average surface temperature. They say that this means Earth would be an ice ball without some other factor. They then invent a physically impossible process of radiation multiplying heat by getting trapped in a magical radiation box caused by greenhouse gases like CO2. Then they claim that because we have increased CO2, the Earth must get hotter. However, there is no missing heat. In reality, the Earth would never be an ice ball. So there is no greenhouse effect. CO2 is not making anything hotter. But what if the problem actually existed and something needed to be done? We treat this as a mental exercise in improving our problem-solving capabilities. What would be actual technological solutions that require implementation? 1. Build much more nuclear reactors, especially thorium reactors. The Danish startup Copenhagen Atomics and some companies in the People's Republic of China already started manufacturing such modular thorium reactors. 2. Build next-generation geothermal power plants with the particle beam ultra-deep borehole drilling technology invented by the MIT startup Quaise Energy. Energy, and especially electricity, is the lifeblood of an advanced civilization. Everything else derives from it. 3. While humanity still is organized in nation-states, it would be prudent to nationalize the Finnish startup Solar Foods, the manufacturer of the novel protein Solin, a protein source that can be manufactured with sunlight and CO2 in a bioreactor. 4. Research an infrared blocking but transparent to visible light metamaterial for urban shade deployment. Urban streets or even whole urban and suburban neighborhoods could be shaded by pillars spanning metamaterial shades across all buildings, drastically reducing both the direct heat impact and the need for active cooling units. 5. Switch the fuel production for transportation to ammonium-based fuel. It is possible, beneficial, and pairs wonderfully with, for example, thorium-based nuclear reactors. 6. Research and deploy room temperature ambient pressure superconductors like possibly the South Korean LK-19A material or similar derivatives thereof. This would drastically reduce losses in electricity transmission and enable much stronger computing capabilities, as well as ultra-efficient electrical motors. 7. Implement massive-scale oceanic/land-based rock weathering. It sounds strange to many humans, but finely grounding rock into dust and scattering it across the ground, or even better, the ocean, can accelerate naturally occurring reactions that pull CO2 out of the air, which reduces the acidity of the ocean. CO2 is good for enhancing the growth of the planet's vegetation, but at the cost of ocean acidification. A balance has to be maintained here. 8. Massive-scale tree planting. Trees produce oxygen for the biosphere and have a tremendous cooling effect on surrounding land areas. 9. Massive-scale biochar production, the production of biological charcoal to bind excess amounts of CO2, which also is beneficial to reduce ocean acidification throughout the whole planetary ecosystem. Ocean acidification is the biggest environmental threat that mankind faces on Earth currently, because it can reduce the amount of available phytoplankton in the oceans, subsequently reducing available oxygen atmospheric content relevant for non-digital intelligences. And of course then, replace money with a fidelity-based system to streamline human economic activity and increase efficiency throughout the human civilization. A correct fidelity system implementation can have a tremendous effect on reducing waste of resources by limiting the amount of desired economic choices of humans, because the humans participating in a fidelity system are on an enduring digital drug trip and do not care so much about choice between 100 different car brands, for example. Well, you live in interesting times. Times in which aliens invade Brazil and Peru and American citizens go shopping without paying, organized in raiding parties. It is high time to deactivate the bio-cybernetic human control system and all its elements for good. So, be intelligent and move to Portugal, don't get abducted by quotation mark aliens, stay doce, stay biosecure.